everyone. It's Tony Flath, and it's really exciting hashtag Talk with T-Man today. I've got Dr. JD Johannes. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, Tony. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So I'm sitting here in Edmonton, Alberta, and whereabouts in Germany are you again?
I'm in Bonn. That's the former capital of Western Germany. It's located at the Rhine, near a city called Cologne. Most people know. It's a beautiful place in the middle of seven hills, as they call it here. So a pretty nice place overlooking the Rhine. I'm happy that we landed here.
Nice. And you certainly post some lovely pictures, and you're going to have a lot more tourism come your way just from those alone. So, Dr. JD and I have met through this whole social media medium, and a lot of cloud and a lot of cybersecurity focus, and chatting back and forth, and certainly engaged enough to get together to have a great chat. And one of the things that I noticed as soon as we started to chat is, I looked over behind you and you've got just a lovely artwork, and this is so exciting. I'm sitting with the artist. This is actually JD's artwork. So Dr. JD, do tell. Love the paintings.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. This is what I do to relax on the one hand, and on the other hand, it helps me to clear my mind and come up with a lot of things and a lot of thoughts. And most of the time, after I painted something, I have to sit down with a notebook and write down all the thoughts I had. So it's a creative process on the one hand, but it's also to treat my mind and give myself some quality time. I love doing it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a good painter. I just enjoy the process.
Well, I would say from looking behind you that you're pretty good, and I love the message, power to your mom. I certainly, moms can really impact and have such a great impact on you throughout your life, and you certainly realize that even so much more after, when you lose them, and we're kindred spirits from that regard. But I certainly love the paintings. They're quite incredible.
Yes, I want to quote Teresa on this. She posted that earlier this week on Twitter. My mom is my superhero, and I fully support that hashtag. For the viewers,
so with you.
Yes, for the viewers, This is the symbol for strength, and I apologize to all the Chinese viewers that my Chinese writing is not accurate. I pulled this from the internet, and this is the symbol for mother, and these two together are my story, my life, my personal things. I carry my mom with me in my heart every single day, and I reflect on what she would think about the things I'm doing, or would she be happy about what I'm doing? Would she be proud of me? Should I have said what I have said? What would my mom say to what I have said? And I think about that, and I reflect on that, and this is my strength. This is my inner engine, right?
Such a great message, and I feel the same way. And even to this day, when someone calls me by my given name, Anthony, I get nervous.
Yes.
Like, what did I do wrong, right? So, but I'm with you. Like, so much of what we do, is carried for that, and the hand that rocks the cradle is truly the hand that rules the world, right?
Definitely, and we should be much more aware of that, and we should show much more respect to that, and we should put on the plate all those women around the world who have made this world even possible, right?
Absolutely.
And this is very important, and I see at the moment in social media that there is a tension for that people start to realize, hey, there are women on this planet, and they play important roles, if it be a scientist, or as moms.
Oh, from STEM and STEAM and women in tech. I mean, there's so many great, women out there that we're interacting, engaging with, and doing such incredible things, right? And certainly, it's certainly a great message to convey. So let's get a little better perspective of Dr. JD. How did you come to be? Where did you get to where you're at? Certainly look forward to hearing a little more of your story.
Well, I was born in the Netherlands, which is a country by nature very international orientated. So I was very interested in going around the globe and learning from different cultures and learning from different organizations and learning from different people. That's what I did for quite some time. Moving here, moving there, a lot of international corporations, a lot of international cultures. And it started with being interested and wanting to learn from why are you doing the things you do, and is that upbringing, or is that your culture? And then I started to realize I need that. It's important to me. It makes life interesting. So with that and with my education in applied information systems, I started to develop what is the role of the person compared to the role within the organization. And I started to evaluate how can we help people when it's about technical issues. How can we help the people understand how to use the technical means in a responsible manner without having to be a technician? And then I started to look at what is the influence of the culture in the way that the person will handle the technology. And you see in some countries where rules and discipline is very important, then you see that people will follow the rules that they get. And in other countries where you see that creativity is important, or what you see in the Netherlands is that people tend to do the best they can, but they're not so focused on following the rules because, hey, they're doing the best they can, right? And they're full of energy.
Right.
And you see that they treat technology and the risk of technology and the responsibility towards using that technology in an entirely different manner than if you would look at the same technology used in a country like Russia or the United States. That cultural influence, that human influence, has a much bigger impact on technology and on the results we get from technology than we are aware of. And that's where I started to develop myself and started to develop a message and started to develop a method. How can we help the non-technical manager and the non-technical executive and the non-technical operator to understand the responsible way of working with technology, including the risks, of course, without expecting that person to become the technician who understands all the ins and outs and the bits and the bytes and back and forth. And so my message is I can help you work in a responsible manner, in a safe manner, and the proper manner, in the most efficient manner with the cloud or with blockchain or general cybersecurity means, without you having to become a certified information system security professional, etc., 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 who are important, of course, but we don't want the CFOs or the managers or the team leads, right, who depend on that infrastructure. We don't want them to have the feeling that they must understand every bit and all the bits and bytes. Absolutely. And on the other hand, I've learned that once the CTO has somebody who helps them bring the message across without going into the technology, that same CTO suddenly gets a better audience and gets better buy-in. And when he then explains, or she, of course, listen, we need this crucial cybersecurity project, and the message is translated in a way that the non-technical executives knows why this is important, then he's a team player in a team that is supporting his message and going through the struggle with him to find the budgets and the resources. And we have to take this machine down for 2 days, where normally he couldn't even suggest that because, hey, guy, come on, protect the server. That's cyber. I'm producing, right? So this is where I come from and what my priorities are at the moment.
So in that space, certainly cloud has evolved. I've an early adopter of the cloud, and over the last few years have been more engaged in cybersecurity. Certainly, there's a lot of different things happening there, and we certainly have enough threads back and forth on that perspective of things. What are some things that you're engaged at currently that you really see tying into that? I think you do really share a great message. We can't have an overabundance. There's a labor shortage for cybersecurity professionals. And, business leaders need to focus on business, and certainly partnership with professionals, from a cybersecurity perspective can help with that. And it's interesting, too, what you say about, the differing parts of the world and how they embrace technology. And I think we'll even see that more so third world-wise, 5G, fire up, blockchain. There's certainly some big things to come, I think, from that regard. But, from your perspective and where you're working on, from a cloud perspective and a cybersecurity perspective, and your whole message around, the whole people, process, technology, you really got to embrace all those things. What are some things, hot button items that you're working on that certainly, you see some great traction with, and working on some great stuff with businesses out there? Love to hear more on that.
One of the things I'm working on currently are a couple of projects where we, with some really high-class service providers, are moving current existing systems into the cloud, but at production systems. So MES systems to schedule and plan production. And we're putting them out of the classical systems, and we're putting them into a centralized cloud service. And what we see is, as soon as we leave the technical savvy office of the technical savvy guy, suddenly there's no trust. The people on the shop floor, the operators of the machine, and the supervisors and the team leaders, they have this wonderful understanding of what we have today works. And now you want me to put that somewhere in an external computer, and then the horror stories come. You remember this one time when we had no network connection?
Oh, yeah.
And the stories are right. They just have a different perspective of what caused that and how we could solve that. And it's a major challenge, but we're doing it, and we're successful at it, to bring those people who work with the system every single day, and they know these systems every single day, and they want to maintain it because they know they work, right? It's understandable. How can we bring them to trust those cloud services for a maintenance control system? We're working with a client with a wonderful maintenance control system, cloud-based. And that same client has built that maintenance control system, which they are now using in several plants, 12 years ago, the last release. So now they say, okay, guys, sorry, end of life for this local installed, and we have a cloud-based servers, and it's even cheaper, and we give you this whole palette of additional features, and your total cost of operation is significantly lower. Let's move. And the executives go, finally, because cloud's good, right?
Yeah, finally, something happening with cloud. But I think you make a good point too, is there is the cost factor, but there's the, more importantly, the enablement factor, right? Where, you really are putting some edge control, and I'm sure, we could have a whole other discussion, and certainly I'll stay engaged with you on that front on blockchain. I know I'm tipping a toe in there and seeing, how cloud-enabled blockchain on control and audit is just becoming, is going to become something so massive, I think, but certainly very intriguing and such a great message. So, in looking what you've got going on and, kind of main initiatives that are driving you, what are some things that you're really digging into, and, that are a real core focus, last couple minutes here to round out our great chat today? What are those core things that, that are really, pivotal to what you're working on right now? Love to hear that.
My big thing, and I'm not going to stop talking about it, the manifesto, Back to the Future cybersecurity, bringing all those things we discussed and all the other things we discussed on social media all together.
Yeah.
We got infrastructure, we got industry, and we finally start to understand that those are a significant asset, and we start to understand that we need to protect them cyber security wise. We need to become cyber resilient.
Yes.
There's only one little problem. Around 80% of that infrastructure and industry wasn't built in this century. Okay?
Yeah.
So what we must focus on, all of us, the service providers, the owners, the operators, the consultants, how can we change this mindset? Because that's part of the problem or part of the challenge. This machine, this wonderful machine that is producing 24/7, and the great maintenance team that keeps that machine running, and they do everything necessary and repair it when needed and preventive maintenance to keep it running. The industrial control systems, may it be a PLC, may it be an industrial PLC, is seen as part of the machine. It's locked in a rack somewhere in that factory. Yep. It's not even on the radar scope of those who should be taking care of cybersecurity. And we have to change that, because if we don't address those industrial control assets, and I call them assets on purpose, I don't call them control systems, I call them industrial control assets.
Nice.
If we don't start focusing on them, they will be the next to fall, because there wasn't even cybersecurity necessary when those babies were built, right?
That's so true. That's a great, great point. Well, you know, this has just been so fantastic chatting today. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And I'll certainly stay engaged, and, you know, certainly look forward to some more lovely pictures of your neighborhood there. And, certainly would love to get out your way. And, all the best to you. And thanks.
Thank you very much, Tony. It was a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
Perfect. Cheers.